Hi, hope you're well. I'm Dave and I help business leaders to use technology more effectively. And today I'm just talking about what you need to do to prevent a cybersecurity incident. Now, there's no such thing as 100% here, but there's certain things that we can definitely do that will make a big difference. And a lot of these come out of compliance. People say, I need to have cyber essentials. I need to have NIST 2 or one of the other standards or ISO standards for my business so I can bid on projects. And if that's a case for you, you need to bid on contracts and you don't meet the standard, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to offer some initial consultancy for free and then maybe offer some advice and consultancy to help you get these things over the line. Now, I come from a very deep technical background, so it's a lot easier for me to switch between the management and the tech. So let's just go through the tech things. Now, this might be a bit over the top, but I want you to be familiar with the terminology. That's it, really. You don't really need to understand it. So the first thing that we want to have is a cybersecurity plan and a person in the business that's in charge of that. It doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to say, we need to take cybersecurity seriously. The board of directors think cybersecurity needs to be taken seriously, and we need to allocate a budget each year to cybersecurity. Give you an idea, I think a realistic budget is about £40 in the UK per user per month. Now, what are we going to do with that money? Well, the first thing we're going to do is not spend it on pen testing. We're going to spend that money very, very selectively on some tools. Most of that money is going to go on labor to improve the systems. So if you're a Microsoft 365 subscriber, you need to understand that until recently, Microsoft's got a thing called security defaults. Which sounds good, wasn't the default. It is now for most businesses. A lot of businesses have got it turned off though, and their baseline is not very high. So you need to improve the security on your 365 tenancy. I've got a really long video on that, but just get your IT team to start working through the process. You obviously need multi-factor authentication everywhere. That's by the by nowadays, and you need to be training your users. That's one of the most valuable things you can do. We can provide a phishing training that sends people out test spam messages if they click on things. It sends them out regular training, and it gets them to make sure they've signed off on policies. We can have videos going alongside this, and they're kind of entertaining and humorous, short, sharp segments. And what's really good is the feedback I get is that people are more interested, they're more engaged with cyber. Let me give you an example. Say you were to go and buy a new Ford Focus in yellow. I guarantee you within a week you'll spot 3 or 4 identical cars because your brain will recognize the pattern. And that's the problem that we have is for most people, cybersecurity is not on their radar. It's not. So they go to the supermarket and they can't buy anything because the supermarket's had a ransomware incident and there's tills all down. That they start to recognize the problem, and it's a massive problem. It's the biggest risk to your business. So, okay, let's go through some of the other tech that we want to get in place. We want to do something called least privilege. So that means that we basically restrict everyone's accounts to the minimum that they need to do their job. And that includes your IT, by the way. I don't need access to a lot of systems. I certainly don't need to be a global administrator. I can change everything. I can give myself that access as and when I need it. Then we're going to look at some of the software and tools. You need to have EDR. What that is it's an antivirus program that means that when you do get an infection, there's a team that are working 24/7, the Security Operations Center, and they will isolate the device or the network to stop it spreading and then let the IT team know there's a problem. You absolutely 100% need that today. Least privilege, getting your multi-factor authentication, getting your training. These are the top tier things, okay? Then we want to look at something called privilege escalation management. What we want to be able to do is when people want to install software, we want to manage that. So in a big company, that's fairly easy. In a small company, it's a lot harder. I recommend you use either Auto Elevate, which is quite simple, just allow people to like install print drivers and things, or you can use Threat Locker, which is a more clever, more sophisticated tool. One or the other. There's other tools out there as well, but PAM tool. Then we want to use some of the monitoring tools. So what we're looking for here is what machines are not updating. And obviously these tools, you generally manage the updates for you. So are there firewall updates that we need to apply? Are there system updates that are missing from devices? And these tools, they manage these updates for you. And then we can also take the reports because we kind of split IT into kind of proactive cybersecurity, reactive cybersecurity, and policy and planning. So with AI, this is going to get a lot harder. We're going to be a lot quicker at it. But the point here is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to put in place tools that have the biggest impact. So we want to get some kind of reporting information on machines. So that can be through your remote monitoring and management tool, or we can look at a SIEM tool. And what that does is it takes all the logs from all of your devices and keeps them. So there is a breach. We can then go back and look at how they got in. Now, a lot of businesses start with the idea that they should do a cybersecurity audit, which is great, but then they look at pen testing. So pen testing is something that's quite low down on the list, not because it's not productive and constructive and doesn't really help, because it does. It's just that you need to do these other things first, really, because the pen testing is quite expensive and it will just lead you in circles. So if you've got machines that aren't getting updates, patches, fix that first before you do your pen testing. If you have not got a policy for managing passwords and making sure people have multi-factor authentication, get those policies in place. Start moving the needle with those. And then when you do the pen test, a lot of these things will have been covered off. So that will also reflect better on the business. So yeah, there's a lot to this, a lot to this. But I just want to kind of get you thinking about some of the things that you should be hearing from your cybersecurity team. And obviously, if you don't have some kind of chief information security officer or somebody in charge of IT who's both technical and can explain stuff to the leadership team, do reach out to me. I can definitely help you. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I hope you don't get a ransomware attack. I really do, because it's a nightmare.